Hello and welcome to my channel. At the end of this video, you would have learned how to use Microsoft Fabric Data Factory feature for your data pipeline purposes and data transformation purposes as well. On this video, we're going to be using a tutorial from Microsoft documentation to learn how to use data pipeline in Data Factory and Dataflow Gen 2 for your ETL process and also some transformation with Dataflow Gen 2. If this is your first time and you find this video helpful, please don't hesitate to hit the like button and the subscribe button as well. Alright, so let's jump over to my screen as we begin this tutorial. Alright, so we're in our Microsoft Fabric page and we're going to be exploring Data Factory on this tutorial. So I'm going to click on Data Factory. So basically what we're going to be doing, we're going to be creating a pipeline with Data Factory, and then I'm using the copy data pipeline activity stuff to get that done. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is to create a data pipeline. Alright, so we create a data pipeline upgrade. Alright, so create a pipeline. I'm gonna call this first pipeline. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do after this is done loading is to use the copy activity on data factory, and then we click on copy data. Right, so we're going to be using a Microsoft sample data. So let's just select this sample data here. Right, so cool stuff. All right, so we're going to be using this sample data. It's already stored in Azure Blob storage in public domain. All right, so so this is what it looks like. So I'm just going to go back now and assume we want to do this ourselves. So we want to connect to a server in data source ourselves, so we could just select here. So let's say I come to data lake storage. No, it's stored on blob storage, not data lake. So I could just search, okay, this is a blob storage, and then next you create a new connection. Next, so I'm just showing us what you could do to connect to a data source. You could build any database of your choice, or we could have just selected any of those sample data pipelines or data sources rather. Okay, I'm sure it's going to come up anytime soon. So we're going to be using this data blob URL. Right, the notification is anonymous, so it's checking it out. All right, so which is the same data set as we saw at the front, right? But then this is the link to that data set. So whatever data storage you're using, data source you're using, you can just, of course, create the connection, right? Okay, so sample. All right, so this is our guy. Yep, so we're good. Format is 4K. So this is our guy, this is data we're working with. So, and we go on next. So the next thing we want to do is select a destination. After I've selected a source, we've configured the source, we want to select a destination. So for destination, we'll use a Lakehouse. So let me just search a Lakehouse. Right, so the idea for one of the benefits of Microsoft Fabric is that there is a data warehouse and a data lakehouse, and it uses this medallion architecture for bronze, silver, and gold architecture. Bronze for your raw data sets brought into your data lakehouse. You do some transformations and put it in a silver form in your data warehouse, and then move it to gold also in data warehouse that you can now push to end users. So for that scenario, we're going to be using a lake house. So we'll just call this lake house, and what do we call this? Let's just call it bronze. Okay, so load to new table. This is new table. So let's call it bronze underscore taxi. All right, so this is every information we need for our schema, our table schema, right? The source from blob, the package file, destination on our new table called bronze taxi inside of the bronze lake house, and the data type for each of the columns. So we're not going to be enabling partition, so let's just go click on next. And so we have start run. We'll uncheck this because we want to like run it ourselves. You just confirm that your connection is fine, and then we click on OK. Right, so these are our copy activity, and so next thing we do is to click on run, and then yes, no pipelines have no errors. So this is similar to data factory you find on Azure, right? If we check this, we'll see we'll set up also source and destination as well. This is really what we find on Azure data factory. So we save and run. Okay, so our pipeline is successful. Duration took about 1 minute 8 seconds. So typically on data factory on Azure, you have something like an eyeglass here, but I really can't find that here right now. So we are learning data factory together, so let's explore. So I can see this output guy. Okay, rose rate about 15. This is 1.5 million records, and written 1.5 million records as well. So we are done with this. Okay, so we successfully just copied our data from our source into our data lake, right? So that is that. So right now we're going to transform the data set using Dataflow Gen 2. So we ingested the data from data source using data pipeline. So right now we're going to do transformation with Dataflow Gen 2. So we create a new Dataflow Gen 2. All right, so I'll just call this Dataflow transform. All right, Dataflow transform. So next thing we do is to get the data. So we are working with these are Lakehouse data. So basically we want to transform this data set and then add it to a CSV data set, merge it to the CSV data set, right? So we have this here. Our bronze data lake is where the data is, and so we have this guy in here. These are data sets, right? So we just bring him in. So it's similar to what you find on Power Query, just very quite similar, right? Okay, so optional, we could just check the options and allow enable column profile, right? So we enable the column profile. That's good for us. It's enabled already, so you can see each of the profiles for each of the columns, like if they are valid, if they have empty cells and other stuff like that. Typically how I use Power Query. So next thing we're going to do is that we're going to change this guy data type of this guy to a date column. This is because we would we'll probably use it to join one of the columns on our other data sets. On these query settings, just the same way you find on your Power Query on Power BI, you can see the steps that we have applied, right? So the next thing we want to do is to choose columns. So probably drop a few columns, right? So let's see, choose columns. Yeah. So we're going to unselect a few columns. Drop off date time, PD location, P location ID, uncheck this, DO location ID, pick up latitude and drop off longitude. Okay, we drop off these columns. All right, and then we'll check a particular field, store and forward flag. Right, we're going to check that field and only filter for records that are yes, that have yes on them. Okay, yeah, so here we go. So let's sort this guy. Okay, load more. Right, so we'll just select yes for these guys, and then for the pickup date time, we're going to filter it to just January data, January 1st to January 31st. The filter we use between, January 1st 2015 and January 31st 2015. So we filter out that to just January data because we are joining with the CSV file, and our CSV file just has data for only January, right? Okay, so once that's done, we would connect to our CSV data that contains discount data. So we have a discount data, and that discount data is on a CSV file. So we're going to get that file. So that file is in here already. So let's say I wanted to just get this afresh. We'll come and click text CSV. You put the URL that information is. But since I've already done this connection previously, I'm just going to select this guy here to pick up that data again. All right, so pick up data. This is the CSV file. So we're going to do some transformations. We would pivot it basically, for lack of better word. So we'll create. All right, then next thing we want to do is to use the first row as header, right? So you notice that each of the steps we are taking are showing on the applied steps. The next thing we want to do is to unpivot other columns, right? So you left click on this and you pivot other columns. So we now have vendor ID, date, and discount. So we're going to rename this attribute to date, and then we'll rename this to and then we rename this to discount. The next thing we want to do, this date, the data type is alphabet, is a text data. So we'll change this to a data type, right? And then the discount, we want to work on this guy such that we divide this guy to 100. We divide it by 100. So on that transform, let's see. Okay, yeah, so transform standard divide. When divide by 100, so our discount will be in the percentage format to get the point. Okay, so we've done that. So next we want to do now to combine both data sets. So if we click on this diagram view, we can see our two data sets, our New York data set and our CSV data sets. Can I rename this guy? Yes, I can rename him. Let's call him CSV discount. All right, so next one, we want to merge these both data sets. So what do we have? Combine. Okay, so we have combine here, merge queries, merge query as new. So I'm going to put the New York taxi on top, and CSV discount values down. We're going to merge using the vendor ID, and then we click on OK. All right, so from the Microsoft documentation, it says if you have this error, just click on continue, and we are good to go. So if we click on our merged folder, so let's rename our merge guy. Let's rename him. Let's see NYC taxi with discounts. Okay, so we're going to add a column. But before we add a column, so if we come here, we find that this is a table, right? So we're going to expand our guy here and select the column we need. So we already have the vendor ID and these columns, so we just only select the discount. We are taking just the discount column from that other table and we bring it in here. Okay, yep. So we're going to add a new column, a custom column. So let's call this our column total after discount. Total after discount. So if, let's write our formula. So if total amount inside the column is greater than 0, then give us total amount times 1 minus discount insert else total amount, and data type, we make this currency. And okay, we've created a new column. All right, so we may want to round off this our new column by 2. It's already rounded up to 2 decimal places, but just let's add that. Let's say 2 decimal places. Okay, and then okay, so we've successfully done some transformation. We've merged that guy, and then let's check our query output. All right, so the name is no, on our merge data, yeah, we already called it New York City taxi with discount. So the next thing for us now is to export this to the data destination target. So let's create a destination. So we are taking back to our data lakehouse. Remember we said the architecture for Fabric that works is your medallion architecture, your bronze for your raw, your silver for your transform, clean, and your gold for maybe with some more transformation with business logic or facts dimensions or math tables that can be plugged into end users. So we're now pushing this guy into a gold table. So call this table New York taxi with discounts. Let's see. Perhaps I should have first created a container for this guy. So, but I'm just going to put this guy inside of here for now. So this is what it's gonna look like, and then we save settings. Okay, so looking at this, we can see our output destination, this guy here, and so let us publish. Let's publish and see what happens. Okay, yeah, so this is the table that we have created with all the columns. So if you click on this guy, you'll see the preview of the table here. So this is data set, and what we've done basically is to create a new Dataflow Gen to import and transform sample data, import and transform text CSV data, merge data from both sources into a new query, transform data and generate new columns in a query, configure an output destination source for a query, and rename our new data flow basically. Yeah, so we see when using data factory, let's go back to home. Yeah, our data factory workspace. So we've learned how to use data pipeline to ingest data, and data flow how to use transformation. So I know that you could use Python endpoints to do some transformations. I've not explored that yet, but then as we learn Fabric together, we'll see how that works. All right, thanks so much for staying up to this point. I sincerely hope you got a thing or two out of this video. All right, so till we meet on the next video on Microsoft Fabric, keep learning data, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thank you. Bye bye.